Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan page with this story. It'll have plot synopsis and character bios available if you so would like to look. So we are looking at Amazing Spider-Man number 303 from 1988. Todd McFarlane has become the regular artist and is inking and penciling his own work. I have most of the McFarlane issues covered. I started in 314 and went forward and then decided, let's just do the entire run. So then started at 298. So I do have a playlist available. Feel free to check it out, covering most of his stuff. I wish I could say Todd McFarlane continues to draw to this day, but he really doesn't draw anymore, and it is so sad to me. I understand, hey, we live in a capitalistic society. He's making the money that he can, banking a lot of coin with the toy line of his little Spawn universe. I understand. I'm all for making money, but I truly wish he would draw more. I miss him drawing. It's what I like. I unfortunately don't um don't buy Spawn because I was buying Spawn when he would do the covers. Just a cover would make me buy Spawn, but he doesn't even do the covers. So I quit. I quit buying Spawn, and he does a cover. I'll buy an issue. No covers, no Spawn. So there's just not enough McFarlane art out there, and I think that makes the world a sadder place when there's not enough of his art, because I think his art is beautiful. His art is fantastic. This is his early work, of course, but even then, you're starting to see some changes. You can already see that the web is becoming more pronounced. It's a work in progress. Um, he becomes such a better artist, but again, I just miss his art and his drawing. I just wish he would draw more. Um, great, great splash page here. David Michelinie slash Michelinie is the writer, with Todd doing both the pencils and the inks. Um, Again, you can see now that the over the last couple issues, the webbing was a little bit messy, but you can now see that he's definitely starting to get the hang of it, and it's becoming much better. Um, I curse him for this too because when I draw Spider-Man, I do this web. He was such a huge inspiration. My Spider-Man is the same as his. So, um, let me just go back here because some stuff had already happened. So, he's thinking about, if you remember from last issue, they offered him that job in Kansas. He really wants it, but Mary Jane doesn't want to move, and so he's pondering what to do. So so we bring up the Sable because that's who is going to be in this issue, as you saw on the cover. And he goes, "Why couldn't I have been an international bounty hunters like the Silver Sable? All she has to do is about tracking some neo-Nazi who wants to kill her. That's simple, straightforward. No, I always wanted to be a scientist. So when I was asked to take that research job out in Kansas, it was like offering water to a thirsty man, except that glass was filled with brine." Um, Great. Look at this. Just the build, it's beautiful. And then he does this, which I absolutely love. Instead of offering all that detail, he just does the reverse silhouette. So, all right. And so, of course, we get to the part where Mary Jane just doesn't want to move. So, He's going into his apartment, and Mary Jane is sleeping, and he turns off the TV. She wakes up, and she's like, "Hey, I was waiting. Did you get any good pictures to sell to the Bugle?" And he's like, no." Um, do you guys like early McFarlane? Because I sort of do. Although I like all periods McFarlane, even super early McFarlane when he was somebody else, when somebody else was inking him. His pencils were so unique. He is such a cartoonist, and I do mean cartoonist. Look at how he draws people. Look at the eyes. It's just, this is so great. He does these vertical panels and is able to just convey the stuff. So, um, he's kind of talking about what his concerns are, and she's like, "Hey, we should just go to bed and worry about it tomorrow." And Peter's like, "I like the way you think." So, all right. So then the next day, Sandman is kind of doing the exercise. This was during his face turn. So we all know Sandman was a villain, but then he becomes a hero. Then back, this is what happens. So heel face, heel face. We just kind of revolve around. It's what makes interesting stories. So he beats up that robot there. Um, One of the greatest heel turns, in my opinion, was Hulk Hogan turning heel when he went back to WCW in the 90s. Hogan had always been Hogan actually was a heel when he started with, but during the 80s when WWE or WWF at that time, Hulk Hogan was this massive hero. And but we were going into the 90s, and his whole shtick just wasn't working during that. The whole say your prayers, eat your vitamins, all that kind of stuff. So he goes into WCW. His agent doesn't want him turned into heel because he thinks that's going to be bad for his career. Hogan was doing movies and things like that. He was an early version, a cheaper version of The Rock, you should say. Like, he was doing a lot of like made-for-TV movies, that kind of stuff. So, Hogan did like the idea because it gave something to do. The character evolved. He wasn't stuck in that whole, I'm a superhero kind of thing. So, um, in WCW, here comes Hogan and betrays. Was it Macho Man? It was just betrays and becomes a heel. Joins the Scott. Oh my goodness gracious, he passed away. He was Razor Ramon in WWE, and Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, and started that whole NWO, and it resonated. And I wish that one of the big two had the balls to do that to one of their top characters. And I don't mean like Batman bringing a Batman from another dimension like they did with the Batman Who Laughs. I'm talking about making Bruce Wayne or Clark Kent or somebody, or Peter, even Spider-Man, somebody turned them into a heel. Watch, I mean, and it can be a temporary thing. These are characters, for God's sakes. They always make villains, even Doctor Doom, they had a face turn. Brian Bendis in the infamous Iron Man even had Doctor Doom turn face. So why can super bad people like Venom and Doctor Doom and everybody else, how come they can all have face turns, but you can't give Spider-Man a heel turn? Is it really that difficult to give one of the, and I'm not talking about having a rogue superhero go heel. That's not impactful. A minor superhero is nothing. I'm talking about, they did with Green Lantern, but then they chickened out and created that whole parallax thing that he was invaded. No, screw that. You say Green Lantern is a heel. And they should have just gone with that. They always want to give themselves an out of things. No, just have Superman say enough is enough and take over the planet. Oh, think of the friggin' stories that you'd have to say. Um, in DC, you already have very many versions of uh these things, but um, goodness gracious, I think that um we um I don't know. I think you can just tell much better stories if you would just great vertical panel here. Um Turn some of these characters heel. So, all right, Peter Parker is going into it, and there's this announcer for Spider-Man in the Daily Bugle from Silver Sable, and Peter's like, "Oh, great! I need money." So, and Mary Jane's in a photo shoot because she was a model during this time. Great, I think, by Todd McFarlane. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful. All right, and so the photographer's like, "Hey, you don't seem into this shoot." Again, look at the cartooniness. Look at the big. McFarlane is a cartoonist, a true cartoonist. Um, the big look at this. Just it's just gorgeous. He's not just drawing. The I don't know how to describe it, but anyway, of course, Mary Jane's thinking about Peter, and then she's like, "Do I really love him that much that she's willing to give up her life for that?" So, again, another vertical panel here. McFarlane, if you take a look at that thing, you'll see that McFarlane does a lot of buildings and stuff. He likes to set that. So, he's at the embassy, and Spider-Man's reading the paper, and of course, there's a Hulk story. He was sort of still finishing out his Hulk run, and so there's the Silver Sable. So, and of course, he's gonna get paid. She's gonna go after that guy that tried to kill her. Of course, here's the Sandman, and so, um, of course, he's turned face. So Spider-Man thinks it's gonna be weird, but that's all right. Um, and so off he goes. I love this. Hidden gunmen on the roof. Either restrictions on the Japanese imports are getting real strict, or Silver's intelligence reports were right on the money. So, he's going inside. Of course, this image here is the same one that was ended up using for the corner box for a little bit. Um, and so I love this. This is a great one here, and I love how he blacked out the face. It's just so cool. So, um, the thing breaks. He ends up falling in there, and so, um, Spider-Man is disables that guy here, and so they got some drugs here, heroin or cocaine, and so there's that Kraus guy, and so they're about to work with the Kingpin here, and it's such a trope, but Nazis, because of just the type of people that they are and who they represent, they always make the greatest villains. There's no such thing as a good Nazi. So, um, I love this part here too with the coloring. Instead of blacking him out with the inking, they just colored it different. Is this not cool? It just I don't know. I think this is so cool. Such a uh, so original. I mean, you can see the layouts that it was um he was gonna color it black and just opted to leave it there. Great choice particularly early on in his inking phase. So she goes, she can't take it anymore, and she's just gonna have to live with the consequences of what she's due. So it's looking like they're already gonna divorce and move out. So that's sort of what we're getting at here. So Spider-Man says what he saw there, and that there's a big army. And she says, "You earned your fee, Spider-Man. Your participation is not required anymore." And she's going in. All right. And so, great panel here again. Just, this is what made McFarlane so huge back in the day. Comic books were just not drawn like this. Now you see this and you're like, everybody, you've seen this before, so you may already be a little, you may be a little bit like used to that, but back then, this just didn't happen. So Spider-Man and was gonna go away, but Sandman's like, I feel like whooping somebody, and he works for his pay, and he's like, they're both nuts, and he decides whatever, so he joins them too, and so all three of them are gonna go, and then she starts barking orders, so he's like, all the time with orders, so. Sandman is incredibly hard to kill because he's made out of sand. So, great drawing there. These panels, see, this is what I mean. Look at this. Nobody did this. Look at that. Absolutely wonderful. And so, and he always, instead of aiming straight, he always did this. Just imagine, just this change of perspective makes this so much better than if the hand was going straight at you. So just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. A lot of action. This is another, look at this, just another absolutely gorgeous instead of the shadow leaving it and then they color it a different shade or just absolutely brilliant. And look at this panel here, this vertical one. Uh, Wonderful. Again, I wish he would draw more. I know most of this video has just been me kind of talking about different things, more so than the story, but the story is very simple. And so we're just really looking at McFarlane's beautiful art, which is absolutely magnificent. So look at this. He's starting with the ticks. It's just beautiful. And so she gets her guy, and of course she's gonna get paid more than everybody else. So um, they're going to giving his fee, and he's like, "We're talking about American currency, right?" So he heads over back home and sees Mary Jane packing her bags, and he thinks she's leaving, but she says he's going to move with him, and he's like, "No, we're gonna stay here. Marriage is his most important thing to him." Again, look at the eyes square. Look at McFarlane's. Just he is a true cartoonist who happens to, I think, to do comic books. It's just beautiful. So he's gonna go to school, get a degree, and she pretends to faint, and because she's happy with the news. And so we have one more page here. All right, so we get kind of another vertical panel with the buildings in there. And so it's confirmed, Sid. Yes, sir. Each of these new shot was taken by the same freelance photographer. We got his address. He recently moved, sir, but we may not require direct contact. And these men are in shadows here. Good. then let's move on this before someone else makes the connection. He may not realize it, but by the end of the week, Peter Parker will belong to us. And here we go. So, to be continued. So, hope you enjoyed it. Amazing Spider-Man 303, written by David Michelinie, I don't know. I and drawn by Todd McFarlane. Like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.